All right, everybody, welcome. My name is Kate Brandis. I'm the VP of Operations for Secure Video. We appreciate you all taking the time to join us for today's webinar. We are expecting quite a few more participants, so I'm sure we'll have some folks that are joining as we get started today. But to start with, I just wanted to introduce our topic for today and also introduce you to a few members of our team who are joining today as panelists. So again, like I said, I'm Kate. I'm going to be leading you through today's discussion, which is about tools for successful virtual group sessions. Joining me from my team is Adam Leslie. Adam, say hello. And I have Josh Hood joining me as well.
Hi
Josh
there.
and Adam, I wanted to make sure that everybody that's on the call today got a chance to see their faces and meet them. Josh and Adam have been with us now for about 4 months, and so some of you may have already had encounters with one or both. But if you haven't yet, you may still meet or engage with them at some point. So I wanted to make sure they were introduced to our audience today. And then with me as well is Michelle Dong. Michelle is our Director of Operations, and Michelle is going to be helping me manage the Q&A. So we will have some time, hopefully at the end of today's webinar, for questions and spend some time answering questions live. But throughout the process, if there are questions that come up, please feel free to use the Q&A feature in Zoom webinars. If you click Q&A, you should be able to submit a question there. And if it's something that Michelle can jump in and just respond to in writing, she'll help us with that as well. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with today's topic, hosting a successful virtual group session. All right, for a quick agenda for today, we're going to be talking about use cases for group sessions. We know the whole topic and idea around holding group sessions via telehealth is, a bit, new for some of you, and we want to get everybody really thinking about what are some of the different use cases for holding group sessions online, because I know there are some that can quickly and easily jump to mind, but then some more non-traditional group session use cases that we can talk through today, and then talk about some tools that can be helpful for those as well. We're going to talk about why conducting group sessions is important, some of the ways that this can have some benefits for both you and your audience, your clients or your patients. We're going to talk about some best practices in holding group sessions, and this is based on learnings that we've heard from a lot of our customers that already are well practiced with conducting group sessions online. It's also based on some of the feedback we've heard from them, as well as requests of our software, things that can make holding group sessions a little easier. So we'll talk through some best practices. And then the majority of the time we spend today is going to be based on tools for supporting a great experience. And that's tools that are found within the Secure Video platform. So I'll go into live demonstration of the platform itself and some of the tools that you have available to you to help support you in holding a successful group session. And then finally, we'll end with some resources, some things that after we walk away from today's webinar, hopefully you can refer back to help support you as you move forward with conducting your own groups or just building on programs that maybe you've already started. All right. With that, I'm going to jump into, before we really get into it, a quick poll for our audience. So if I can, I'm going to go in here to Zoom and start our poll. Here we go. And so what you should see on your screen is just one question that we were hoping everyone would answer today. And that is just to give us some context around your current situation with group sessions. So if you will, just take a moment, look at the selection on your screen and just answer based on what best describes you. I'll give everybody a few minutes to read through that and answer, and then I'll share the results with everybody. All right. Looks like we've got quite a few answers in. Thank you for that. Let's give it a couple more seconds here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and I'll share the results with you guys. Yeah, there we go. So what we're seeing is about just almost half of everybody is considering starting virtual group sessions. So that's great. And then following that is just currently holding group sessions, but maybe some room for improvement. So it doesn't look like anybody's, at least anybody that answers, has tried holding group sessions in the past and has moved away from that. So thanks for answering that. That helps give us some context around some of the things we're going to be talking about today. All right. With that, let's jump into some of the virtual group session use cases and some common examples. So I think for all of us, one of the most common types of group sessions that really comes to mind when we think about telehealth and group sessions is group therapy. So listing just some examples of what could fall under this category could be things like grief counseling, substance abuse treatment, trauma counseling, even some more deeper engagements of behavioral therapy using group sessions online. But some other different areas and different use cases for group sessions have to do with education. So we have customers that use group sessions for holding workshops, holding health and wellness classes. We even have a customer that is a surgical care center that conducts group sessions for a specific type of surgery that they do very frequently. They hold just informational classes about post-op care for that one particular procedure. And then family services could be another use case for group sessions. And groups, I mean, we really think about groups as being any more than just the provider and the patient. So in our minds, if you have 3 or 4 people in a session, it's a small group, but it is considered to be a group session. And this is where family services kind of come into play into that category. We have things like just including a family member in a group session. That's very important in some cases. Some is for caregiver support. If you have a situation where you have families that are caring for an elderly family member, caregiver support could be a way that family services are used to conduct group sessions. Hospice care, some of our customers are hospice organizations, and they do either family services where they're bringing in families into a group session, or like we talked about in the first example, offering grief counseling services. And then an interesting use case that we have at Secure Video is there is a customer of ours that does in-home care evaluations. And this is a customer that does, it's an insurance company, a payer for senior care. And so part of their services that they offer are in-home care support for the elderly. And so part of that is an initial evaluation of the patient's or the member's home and different hazards around the home. So they'll include via telehealth not only the in-home nurse that's in there with the patient, but they'll also include family members from several different locations to help them just educate on what some of maybe the hazards in the home could be. And then finally, the other category that really comes to mind for us is collaboration. So this could mean things like patient, provider, specialist all being included in the same session so that they can have a more effective conversation. Or it could be something like a provider work group where you have several different providers coming together to strategize or try to solve a problem. Or, I mean, this is another common use case within Secure Video is we see organizations just conducting their team and staff meetings through Secure Video because they found that the scheduling process and some of the tools that we use make it very easy for the team to come together from remote locations. So these are just some of the ideas, common types of group sessions that we wanted to share with you today to get everybody thinking about, some of the things we'll cover going from here. So next, to talk about why conducting group sessions. Now, some of these points about why conducting group sessions really speak to, um, you know, individual telehealth sessions as well as groups. And that's things like convenience for your participants, things like greater accessibility, especially if you're in or have patient populations in more rural areas. Those definitely play into group sessions as well. But when you think about the likelihood that participants would actually join and participate in a group session, this can really speak to some of those points. And then otherwise, just for groups in particular, creating a greater sense of community, helping patients or clients reduce feelings of loneliness or isolation. And then another one that we really love to talk about is encouraging varying perspectives. So being as a part of a group session can really help open your mind to other people's perspectives that you may not have otherwise heard. So all good reasons why group sessions could and should be considered. Next, to talk about best practices for group sessions. So these are some of the things that we just want to run through as far as ways to help make your session as successful as possible. The first being set the tone. So you as the leader of the group session are really going to be establishing, the tone for the group going forward. So some of the ideas that we've heard around that are making sure that, of course, that you come in and conduct it in a professional manner, but also you're going to set the standards for the group. So, for example, some groups have right up front privacy standards that they want everyone to adhere to. So they'll just go ahead and go over that. It may even be something where you use our e-document system to set up a document that really clearly describes the expectations for the group, and you have all of your participants sign off on that prior to entering the session. So again, just some ways to really set the tone for what some of the boundaries are, what what the privacy standards are, that sort of thing. And the second one really kind of plays into that too. It's just mind your environment. A lot of us, I think, are used to doing this by now when using telehealth, but it's minding things like your background, your lighting, making sure that you are using equipment where your participants have the best chance of seeing and hearing you. So that sort of thing. And that can also set the tone and set the example for the participants in your group. Using the right equipment, this really talks about things that are related to more technical. Making sure you have high-speed internet available, making sure that you're closing all of the other applications that are running on your device, for example, so that you're not competing for bandwidth and you have the strongest possible internet connection. Also making sure that you have access to a high-quality camera where your participants can really see you, microphones so that they can hear you clearly, or headphones. If you're in a common area that's shared, you want to make sure that you have headphones in to respect the privacy of those that are on the call with you, making sure that no one else in the background can hear things that are going on. So using the right equipment. Knowing your tools, you're already taking the one big step by just joining today. Knowing the software platform that you're using and the tools that are available to you, through that platform. So we'll go through some of those next in the demonstration. And then finally, just to practice. Telehealth is not necessarily something that would come naturally to a provider. It's something that you may have to go in and just schedule a test session with several of your colleagues or several friends, invite them into the group and really see what that process is like, start to finish. Get some feedback from those that can be really honest with you about, how your appearance is, how your equipment's working, whether they're seeing and hearing you in a stable manner. And then the other thing I always like to point out about practice is Secure Video's support team is always willing to do a practice session with our users. So if you ever would like to just get in the habit, get ahead of starting a group session, and you just want to meet with one of us to go through just a quick practice session, just let us know, and we'll talk about at the end of the webinar best ways to get in touch with support. Okay. Moving on to tools in our group sessions, this is where we're really going to get into the meat of today's presentation, demonstrating some of the features that are in Secure Video that can help you have a successful group. We're going to talk about display names. This is one of Secure Video's newest features that we've released, and part of the reason that we wanted to hold this webinar today, just another tool that can really help set up group sessions for success. We're going to go through building contact groups and how that can save you time in the process of scheduling a session. We're going to talk about setting recurrence or using the schedule next option to go ahead and create a follow-up session. We're going to talk about the change host feature, the reporting and attendance capabilities within Secure Video. And then I do want to highlight some other options and controls that, depending on the role that you have in Secure Video, you may or may not be able to make changes to these settings. But if you are at least aware of them, then you can ask your account administrator to hopefully enable some of these settings that could be helpful to your practice as a whole. So we'll go through some of those as well. All right, so I'm going to jump over to my demo account screen here. This is a view that many of you are probably familiar with if you're already a user of Secure Video. If you're considering using Secure Video and we're interested in using it for groups, this may be your first look at what a Secure Video dashboard looks like. So just for the sake of a quick introduction, I'll just show you. We have the provider's name at the top. So my demo account is for Dr. Ellie Coates as the provider. And as I scroll down the page, it's going to have any of the sessions that I have scheduled as appointments just showing in individual session headers. So here's, for example, a session that was held earlier today. It has the session date and time at the top, and then a unique session ID number. Underneath that, you'll see all of the participants that are a part of each session. So for this session that was earlier today, I had some of my team members on the call. We have Adam, Leslie, Callie, Josh, and you can see that each participant is listed separately underneath that session header. And that's because Secure Video sends out a different, unique join link for each different participant. And that is so that we can have accurate reporting for your records on who attended and who didn't attend a group session. So we'll get into more about the reporting as we go through this. But just as far as the basic view, this is how a group would appear in Secure Video. Now, to talk about the display names feature, which is the one I mentioned we want to cover first, This is a new feature in Secure Video. If I go into the screen where you're adding participant or invitee information, if this setting is enabled, you'll now see this display name field that shows up underneath your participant's name. So I've set up my contact in the system for Adam as Adam Leslie, his full name. But as we know, with many groups, there is a certain amount of anonymity that's expected. And so you want to make sure that you're protecting your individual patient's privacy if that's part of the standard for the group. So you could simply enter in Adam as the display name, or if you decide, you can just simply go with initials, however you want to shorten that or abbreviate that based on your own practices for your groups. So in this case, I've gone with just the option to use first name only, and I've displayed his name as just Adam. So what that does is once you have his full name entered here, it's going to show you in parentheses how that participant will appear in the session. So once we actually join the session and get in there, it's not going to show Adam Leslie, it's just going to show Adam in the session. So that's one feature that was really requested a lot from our current clients for that exact reason. We have had in the past the ability to completely disable patient names so that they don't show at all in the session, but I think there is thanks for RSVPing, Adam. But there is, I think, a desire to just be able to at least go first name basis or initials, something like that. Now, if you don't currently have that activated in your account, I want to show you how to find it and get to it so that you can do that today if you'd like to start using that feature right away. All of the account options in Secure Video are in this profile icon in the top right corner of your screen. So if you click this profile icon, you'll get the drop-down menu. If you have the account administrator role in your account, you're going to see all these options like you're seeing right now. But if you are not the administrator of your account, if you're a provider within a larger practice, there may be someone else that has control over these settings. So you'll want to ask them to update this setting for you. So go to the profile icon, go to account options. And here you're going to see the different categories of all of our different settings. The one we're looking for is in the scheduling section. So if you click to expand the scheduling section, and then you go down to this one that says use display names for contacts. So that is the setting that you want to change. So you may see it just as set to no, but you want to make sure that is set to yes. All right. Going back over to the dashboard, just real quick, I will show you how display names are set up when you're inviting and joining a session. So you will start with just using this new scheduled session button to create your group. You'll select the date and time of your session. Let's go ahead and schedule this one for tomorrow. We're going to say just 11 a.m. tomorrow. In Secure Video, you may or may not know there are a couple of different video engine options. One is to use Zoom, and the other is to use one-click. Now, Zoom is an installed application. That's really what a lot of times we recommend, especially for group sessions, because Zoom's technology does a really great job at combining, different people's internet connections and speeds to give everybody a quality experience. So we do typically recommend Zoom for using group sessions, but you can also include sessions in one-click. One-click is just going to allow you all to meet right there within your browser. So there's no need for your participants to download or install any software. So for this session, let's use Zoom. I'm going to click go. Oh, whoops. I already have a session scheduled for that time when we go later in the day. And here, we're going to go ahead and start and just put in a participant's name. I'm just going to call this Jane Doe. Actually, let's do a different one. Dozer. And in the display name field, of course, you'll just enter in either first name or initials if you'd like it to appear that way. You'll choose whether you want to invite her via email or by text message. Let's do email. And then you can click save from there. So again, that added the participant here and added her initials or her display name as it will show in the session. So to continue building upon this and adding all the participants for your group, you simply use this Add Participant button, and you'll see the exact same screen I showed you before. Let's just take someone else that we already have from a session. We'll call him GE. And now we have a group started. All right. Now, speaking of scheduling in group sessions, I do want to feature one of the things that you can do is to build a contact group, which makes it a lot easier for you to add multiple contacts at one time. So let me show you how this works first, and then I'll show you how to go in and manage your contact groups from here. So you click New Scheduled Session, just like you saw before. I'm going to schedule this one for April 4th at, let's say, 10 a.m. And here, where you would start entering the participant information for your first participant, instead of doing that, you're going to go ahead and start entering the name of the group that you've already created. So in my account, I already have a group called the Anxiety and Depression Support Group. This group consists of 9 contacts that I already have entered into my account. So rather than entering them one at a time, I can simply add the whole group at once, click Save, and it's going to add all 9 participants all at once. So you can see here, it's a very nice tool for scheduling sessions very easily just by having all of these participants in at once. So to manage your contact groups, to create one or manage them, again, you're going to go here to this profile icon and you're going to click on My Contacts. So in My Contacts, it's going to show you anyone that you've invited to a telehealth session previously. It's going to store their name. Each participant name has to be unique. It's going to have their display name. If you're using that feature, it'll show, see, here's Adam, where I entered him just by first name only. And it'll show you the stored email address and or phone number for that participant based on how you've invited them previously. So to create a group, you go up here to Manage Contact Groups. And then here's the contact groups I have set up in my account. To start with a new one, you'll just click Create New Group, and we can give it a name. Let's just call this the Wednesday group. You can put a description in there just to help keep them differentiated in your account. And then you can click Create. And down here, you just use the Add Contact button to start pulling from your list of contacts. So here's Adam, for example, and you would just add Adam to that group. I'm going to add contact, Josh, I'm going to add you. And add a contact. I'll use also Callie, who I invited to a session earlier today. So that's going to show me the group member, and then it shows you also where they're set to receive their notifications. So now we have this group set up for the Wednesday group. And if I were creating a group session starting with Wednesday, I would just pull in that Wednesday group. So let's do the 27th, 11 a.m. and Wednesday. And save. And now I've created that whole session at once with all the members of that group. All right. Next, I'm going to touch on setting the recurrence or using the Schedule Next button. So this is a situation where you might have a group like this Wednesday group that repeats every week, or if it's not always at the same time, but it is a likelihood that you'll want to meet again, we'll go through the Schedule Next option as well. So to start with, let's talk about recurrence. I've got a session down here that is a grief counseling group series. Actually, real quick, let me touch on how I got this to appear here in case you're not aware. This is just adding a topic to your session, but if you're doing a lot of groups, this is a great way to help you keep all your different groups and sessions differentiated from each other. You can just label them. So if I apply this session topic here, you do that by clicking Manage, and then it would say Add Topic, or if it's already there, Edit or Remove Topic. And then you can just type in a topic that you'd like to appear in that session header. So this is my grief counseling group series. Once you add recurrence, it's going to show right here as a link right there above the session. So if I click into that, it'll show me the details of that recurrence. So for this session in particular, I have it set to repeat at 5 p.m. every 2 weeks on Mondays. So you can change the day of the week. You can change the frequency of the recurrence. You can also set it to recur either every day, every week, or every month. And then you can also set it to end on a certain date or after a certain number of sessions. So with this grief counseling support group, as an example, this group meets every Monday, but every other week. So every 2 weeks they meet on Mondays, and then it's a 6-week series. So after 6 sessions, then this recurrence would no longer occur. Right, so let's close that up. And then as far as schedule next, if you have a group and you're not really exactly sure when your next session is going to be, you can use the Manage button again. And there's an option down here called Schedule Next. And this allows you to select the next date and time of the session when you're going to meet again. So if, for example, this group decides let's meet again, but it's going to be in May, and we're going to go May 15th at a different time. We're going to do 9 a.m. this time. By clicking Go, it's going to automatically create that next session as well, pulling in all the same original participants here. So again, that's a very easy tool that allows you to, rather than starting all over and building a session from scratch, just using Schedule Next to very quickly and easily apply for the next session. All right, let's talk about the change host feature. So imagine that you're in a situation where you're part of an organization and many of you are doing, group sessions, and it's a regular weekly recurring thing. But there are times when providers should and could be out of office. There could be vacation time, there could be illness, family occurrences, things that would have them out of the office. Well, rather than canceling that group session, if there's an opportunity for one of your colleagues to back you up, there is a way to take this whole session and apply it to another host on your account. So in this example, let's go with, let's see, this group that I created at the top. No, sorry, I'm going to use this one. If we wanted to change this to a different host, again, you'd click the Manage button and click Change Host. And if I start typing here in this host name field, it's going to bring up other users in my organization that could potentially have the host role and take this session from me. So let's say Peter Provider is the one that's going to be backing me up and taking over this session for me. If I just add his name here and click OK, you'll see it's going to remove that session entirely from my dashboard, and it's going to go ahead and put it on Peter's dashboard there too. So now that has officially changed the session. But the great thing is it doesn't require you to cancel the session, send a notification to participants. All it's going to do is simply let participants use the exact same joining procedures that they would. It's just that that host is now going to be Peter Provider. So lots of, just elimination of any disruption there, and an easy way for you to allow colleagues to back you up. All right, let's get into some of the reporting and attendance capabilities. So this is one of the sessions that I conducted earlier today for our group session. And I want to show some of the capabilities around reporting, because holding a successful group session is one thing, but also on the back end of that, when that session ends, a lot of times, especially if there's insurance reimbursements involved, you're going to need some way to verify who attended the session, who didn't, and how long were they in the session. So this is a tool we wanted to point out to you in the reports section of your system. If you go into reports, many of you are probably familiar with the session usage report. This details the date, time, connection time, the host, the duration, the attendees, all the information that you would need for that verification purpose in your account is tracked right here. Now, if you're an account administrator, you're going to have access to see all of your host user sessions. So for me, I can see, any provider on the account and sessions that they held. But if you have the host role, it's only going to show you sessions that you hosted yourself. So just keep that in mind. You can expand the date range to include any particular session you're looking for, any dates there. Or if you're trying to search based on a certain invitee, like if you're submitting a claim on behalf of one patient and you need to quickly search the report and find them, you can use these search filters here. But to point out, let's find the session that I held this morning. This one is the session from 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You can see that Dr. Ellie Coates, me, was the host of this session. And here are my participants. I had 4 people that were invited to the group and 3 of them attended. So you can see that the 3 that attended are going to be listed here in this attendees column. And the one that didn't will be listed in the invitees not attended column. Then here it's going to have the topic, if there's one assigned, and then any other pertinent details. But the great thing is you can click details next to this session here, and it's going to go even one step further to show you, here's all the participants attended, here's all the ones that didn't attend, here's the time it was scheduled, the time it was connected to, and then down here, it describes each participant's join leave time. Now, the one caveat I want to mention here is that this is only available when Zoom is used as your video engine. So if this is something that is important to you to have this amount of reporting capability, make sure that when you're setting up the session, you're using Zoom as the video engine. But here you can easily see, here's Josh, he joined right here at 11:31. Here's the time he left the meeting, and then it calculates the total time that he was in the session in seconds. So that kind of information hopefully is helpful, just again, on the back end of hosting sessions to make sure that you have the information you need for reporting purposes. All right, I'm going to touch on a few other, options and controls that we wanted to cover. Again, this is in the profile icon in the account options section. These are just a few tools that it's hard to demonstrate in a webinar for you because a lot of these are based on, once you actually get into the session or even the join process. But I do want to talk them through because it's important that you're aware that these are available to you just in case they're not activated. These are things that could really be helpful. So the first one is one I mentioned a little earlier on. You do have the option to completely disable participant names in your sessions. So if you want everybody to come in completely anonymously, outside of the display name feature that we've already talked about, you can select no here, and this will completely prevent any participant names from appearing in the session. Then as I scroll down here, a few more I wanted to point out. This one is, again, is a Zoom only option, but there is the option to join before host. This by default is set to yes, but if there's a situation where you really don't want any of your participants to be able to join the session until you as the host arrive, you can change the setting to no. So if you don't want them joining early and talking amongst each other until you get there, that would be a setting that you can change there. And then to take that one step further, there is the option to enable the Zoom waiting room as well. We don't do this by default because through Secure Video, when you have your sessions held through our platform, your participant has already arrived at their virtual waiting room and they've already clicked to enter the session. But it does allow you, if you enable this feature, one extra step of basically control of when you admit people into the session. So I'm sure by now all of us have been to a session where we've had to wait for someone to admit us into the room. And sometimes that's for a perfectly good reason. There could be privacy concerns, there could be different topics that you want to cover at certain times. So that's a session or an option that you can enable if you do want that extra level of permission to allow your participants into the session when you click a button to allow them. And then finally, the one I'll point out here is enabling Zoom's breakout rooms feature. So again, this one's a little tough to demonstrate, but by default, this is set to no. So if breakout rooms are something that you do want to include in your group sessions, just know that you can come in and enable this feature in your Secure Video account. And then once you're in the Zoom session, you'll see the Zoom display for breakout sessions. And that allows you to create basically several different rooms within the room. So you can send participants to different smaller group sessions, for example, if that's part of a larger group session that you're holding. So keep that in mind as something that's available to you as well. All right, that pretty much covers all of the demonstration I wanted to go through with everyone today. We will get to Q&A in just a minute. I've seen that there have been a couple of questions that have popped in. But before we get to that, I do want to touch on a few resources that are available to everyone as we part ways today. One is our knowledge base in Secure Video. So going back to the dashboard real quick, I want to make sure you're all aware. If you click this support tab here, then you do have a searchable database of articles around features that are available in Secure Video. So if you look for this search field, and for example, let's say you want to come back and find out more about contact groups. You just start typing in contact groups, and it will show you all of the different support articles that we have related to that topic. So this one popped right up, how to manage a contact group. And our support articles are all very thorough. They all include screenshots and a lot of detailed information if you're one of those people that prefer to just go in and find your answers on your own. That said, I will just kind of jump to our support team. There are lots of different ways to reach out to support. And if you're not utilizing Secure Video's support, please consider doing so because we love helping you make the most out of your use of our platform. Let's see. Yeah, so for email support at SecureVideo.com. And this is again listed in your support tab within your account. All this information is listed here. So there's the 24/7 support number. Again, this is support for both you as a provider and for your participants. This phone number is included on all the invitations that go out. So participants, if they're having trouble joining a session, for example, they can call our support and not look to you for troubleshooting and helping them resolve any, for example, technical issues or things that they may have going on. And then we do have a chat widget. Look for this support chat widget here. This is another great way to get in touch with our support team if you're looking for just a quick answer through chat. Jumping back here, our blogs are also a great resource. We have recently been putting a lot of effort into doing more blog topics about group sessions specifically. So we published a blog recently about 9 ways to leverage group sessions. To get to our blogs, it's just on our website here. under the resources tab, and then that first option is blog. So not just about groups, but lots of different topics related to telehealth, if any of this could be useful for you. And then finally, the recording of today's webinar. So hopefully we showed something that, later, if you want to go back to it and look to see how I described it or how I showed you how to enable a feature, this recording of today's session will automatically be sent out to all participants, even those who registered and couldn't attend today. So just know that that's coming your way. As soon as we can get the video rendered and uploaded to YouTube, we'll send out a link as a follow-up. All right, let's jump to some Q&A. Michelle, I'm going to ask if there's any questions so far. You may have answered some that you wanted to highlight or jump in.
There was a question earlier about confusion on what is shown to other participants.
Mhm.
I wasn't quite sure if it might be like just
Related
to
to
clarify that the only thing that other participants would see in a session would be the names of other people if
Mhm.
names are enabled. I guess maybe go into what is displayed and what is not displayed.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. It's just the display
okay.
name. And then if you're, screen sharing with a participant, and we just had a question come in about how do you screen share, that of course would be visible to your participants as well. Screen sharing is an option that you'll see once you're in the session. If you do Zoom or OneClick, you see the option at the bottom of your screen to share screen. So that's there by default. If you have any trouble with it, of course, I'm sure there's a support article that has some screenshots that could be helpful. We have a participant who asked, what if I never get there? Can the meeting still take place without me? So if you are the host of a session and you don't have that limitation where participants can join without the host arriving. So again, that was a setting I just showed. If you have it set to where participants can still join even if the host doesn't arrive, yes, they can still meet and participate in the session. Michelle, in that case, if everyone that's in the session is a participant, doesn't it apply that 40-minute time limit to the session if the host doesn't ever join? Or does it automatically?
Yes.
Okay, it does. Yeah. So that's something to keep in mind. If you do set a group, you never join, because at that point, all the participants just have basic access to Zoom. And because it is a group session, they're going to have that 40-minute time limit restriction. So if it's something you want to make sure that they have the full time in there, make sure you join. Hopefully that answers the question there. All right, let's see. So let's see. I think we have answered that one about what displays in a session. Oh yeah, looks like Michelle kind of answered that one. If I'm in a group session and need to leave early, can I transfer host role to someone who does not have a secure video account? And then Michelle answered, if you have to leave early, you can click end and then select leave. So there's two options when you leave a session. One is leave and then one is end meeting for all. So you'd want to make sure you select the leave meeting, and then that will assign the host automatically to someone else in the session. Let's see, any other questions? I want to take some time here since we've gotten some good questions coming in, make sure we answer these. If you want to share an article to the group, how do you do that? Okay, so there's a couple ways that can be done. One is just screen sharing and showing the article. You can also use in Zoom, the in Zoom chat feature to share things back and forth that way. Or in your Secure Video account, we do also have a chat functionality too. And that includes a file transfer option. So if you click on chat across the top of the screen here, you can start a new chat with either people you have a session with already, or if you just want to add a new contact here. And that does allow you the opportunity to attach a file if you wanted to, say, for example, share an article with everyone. How to share music optimally. That's a great one. This is a question that I think a lot of people stumble over. When you are screen sharing in Zoom, there is a checkbox down at the bottom corner, the bottom left corner of where you share your screen, that allows you to enable the sharing of audio. So this is one I've seen a lot. People go to screen share a video, they want to play a video for the group, and they didn't realize that the audio is not going to be included in that unless you actually check that box. So make sure when you click screen share or share your screen in Zoom, that screen's going to pop up and ask you basically which screen you want to share, whether it's a window or a tab or your whole screen. Look for that little checkbox option down in the bottom left corner, and make sure you check that you want to share audio as well. And then that's going to share audio with the entire group. Okay. And let's see, we had somebody who had to leave for a moment and wanted to come back. They were asking about what my group clients see in terms of other group info. So it depends on your settings, really. We now have the display name feature where you can enter in either just first name or initials. That's what would be seen by other participants in the group. Or you can disable participant names entirely in the account options in Secure Video. But if it is set to just standard default options and you're not using that display name feature, then the way your participants are going to see each other is the way that you have them set up in the session. So if I'm not using display names and I enter Adam Leslie, then when Adam Leslie joins the session, his name is going to appear as the participant in the group. So something to definitely be aware of. Okay, a couple others I'm seeing coming in here. And yep, looks like those are being answered. Again, just more questions about what they're seeing for each other. All right. I think we are about coming. Oh, thank you. I see Michelle shared the article about screen sharing with sound. Hopefully you can see that in the answered questions in the Q&A section. If you do, just grab that link real quick and we'll that'll help you share some information about screen sharing with sound. Okay. Great. Well, thank you so much, everybody. We're going to wrap it up today. We really appreciate everybody's time and great questions and participation. Again, we will send out the recording of this session for everyone to review later, and we will post it to our website as well. Thank you so much for taking the time. We really appreciate you all being here, and we look forward to the next one. So keep an eye out on newsletters and other information that comes out from Secure Video. We hope to continue throughout the year doing different webinars on various topics that may be useful to you and help you make good use of the platform. So thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful day. I'm actually going to stay on for just a moment more, make sure that we give everybody a chance to get their questions answered. Okay, just some thank yous. Yeah, thanks for attending. Okay, Jane, yeah. I think, Michelle, you're sending Jane the link there. Yeah, just didn't see the link. Good. All right, everybody, we will wrap it up there. Have a wonderful day. Thanks again. All right, bye-bye.